Now let's look at the question and we'll try to record all these transactions in the accounting equations. Nihara started a business to repair computers. The following transactions are given to you for the first month of the business. So Nihara is the owner of the business, has started a computer repairing company. Now the first transaction is she has invested 500,000 as the capital. So since she has invested 500,000 capital, so what is the impact on the accounting equation? There are two impacts, as I explained you in my accounting equation introduction. There are two impacts. First one is the cash and the other one is the liability, or the assets and the liability. So since she has invested 500,000, business will receive cash 500,000. So as a result of that, the business cash will increase by 500,000. And on the other hand, the business has to pay back this money to the owner. Therefore, the liability towards the owner, which is known as equity, will increase by 500,000. So this is owner's equity. Owner's equity will increase by 500,000. Now let's move on to the second transaction. Obtain a bank loan of 200,000. The company has obtained a bank loan of 200,000. So what is the impact? Dual impact. Business receives cash. Business receives cash 200,000, and what is the liability? Liability towards the bank. So therefore the liability will increase by 200,000. So therefore go to the liability column and increase this liability by bank loan 200,000. So both the sides will equal. Assets 200,000, liability 200,000. Third transaction. Deposited 100,000 in a fixed deposit account. Now here what has happened? The first, you just analyze the dual impact. Deposited 100,000 in a fixed deposit account. So what has happened here? The company has taken the cash and invested in the bank. So as a result of that, the company cash will reduce by 100,000. Company cash will reduce by 100,000. And what is the other impact? The other impact is you are creating another asset, because the money is invested in the bank. So in the future, whenever you want the money, you can withdraw cash. So therefore the bank deposit is as good as cash. So therefore it's an asset. So your cash asset reduced and you are creating another asset called bank deposit. Here you can say bank deposit, bank deposit account will increase by 100,000. So what is the impact on the liability side? There is no impact on the liability side, but the equation should tally, it should balance. Is it balancing? Yes. What has happened? The cash reduced by 100,000 and bank deposit increased by 100,000. So as a result of that, the net impact on the asset side is 0, and the liability side is also 0. So therefore the equation will balance. Next, move on to the fifth transaction or the fourth transaction. Earn a cash income of 60,000 from computer repairs. So main business activity is repairing computers. So she has done a repair and she has earned an income of 60,000. Now the 60,000, what is the dual impact? Since you have earned a cash income, cash will increase. Cash will increase by 60,000. And what is the other impact? So each and every transaction has to be recorded in two places. Okay, now I have recorded under assets cash because you have repaired a computer and you have received cash worth 60,000. What is the other impact? The other impact has to be on equity. Why on equity? Because the business has earned 60,000 worth of income. That income has to be paid back to the owner along with the capital investment. So therefore, along with the capital, whatever the income business earns has to be paid back to the owner. So business has a liability towards the owner. So therefore, the income has to be recorded under equity. Since it has to be paid back to the owner, it will increase. So please remember, if there is any income, it has to be adjusted under equity. Then what about the expenses? So expenses will be paid by the business on behalf of the owner. So therefore, whatever the business expenses will have to be recorded under equity as well, because the liability towards the equity owner will reduce because business has paid some of the liabilities on behalf of the owner. So as a result of that, whenever company spend expense, incur any expenses, has to be recorded under equity and it will reduce the liability towards the business. Okay, now let's look at the other transaction. Paid 10,000 as the monthly rent of the business. What has happened? Paid 10,000 as the monthly rent of the business. So what is the dual impact? Company has paid 10,000 rent. So the cash of the business will reduce by 10,000. On the other hand, it's an expense to the business. All the expenses will have to be borne by the owner. So on behalf of the owner, company has paid 10,000. So therefore the company's liability towards the owner will reduce by the rent expenses of 10,000. So what is the impact? So this side reduced by, on the asset side, cash reduced by 10,000. On the equity side, equity reduced by 10,000 for the rent expenses.